March 20th, 2020. And we've got Junk King coming up here. Candy, are you on the line? Candy? All right.
So I was muted.
Oh, okay. Great. So Candy, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn this over to you. Candy is with Junk King. Many of you probably have seen their trucks and seen their brand, but they're a nationwide franchise group, and they've got a lot of good things going on there. And what's going on with how's COVID-19 impacting Junk King, Candy? And while you kind of talk about that, I'll get your PowerPoint lined up.
All right. Well, we're based out of California, our corporate office, and with the shutdown and everything, we are still functioning. We do have, obviously, all the office staff is working from home. We do provide now a touchless service where if the people put their stuff outside, we can pick it up from outside, call them for payment, so we don't even enter your home. However, we are still doing our regular service where we do go into the homes. My guys are gloved since before they get in the home. We do have them disinfectants in the truck. They're washing their hands and they're staying about 6 feet away from people for the social distancing.
Okay.
So
you're doing everything you can.
Yeah.
And so just real quick, everybody, Candy is going to be the first of 6 vendors that we're going to highlight, and each vendor is going to get about 8 minutes to kind of go over their value proposition and kind of really why they feel that they can help your business. And you can, after that, we'll maybe entertain some questions, but we'll try to keep this thing flowing. And so Candy, you just kind of tell me next slide. I'll try to stay up with you, and I'll try to keep things moving along. So thank you very much, Candy. Go ahead and tell us what you got for us.
All right. Well, I'm from Junk King. We remove just about everything and anything except hazardous materials. You can go to the next one. We've been around for 15 years. We started in 2005. We are currently the highest rated junk removal company in North America. And we have completed well over 1 million appointments so far. Go ahead. Okay, we do promise professional, reliable services, and we understand, your value is the bottom line. We're going to give you your money's worth. That's our promise to you. We do all the lifting, all the carrying, all the loading. When we go out, all the people have to do is point out what they want removed. We take care of the rest. If we do any type of house clean out or room clean outs, we even sweep up after ourselves. Make sure we get all the small stuff out of the way, and that's it. They don't have to do anything. Go ahead. For our national accounts, which HomeVestors is one, okay, we do provide same-day service. If you call us before 12 o'clock local time, we can usually get a truck out there the same day. You do have priority scheduling, so we will move things around to try to get you in as often as possible. We also go before and after regular hours, especially if you have businesses that need us there before. We do a lot of work with stores and stuff, so we have no problem doing that for you. We do have central billing for you guys and net payment terms. We provide you with 10-day payment terms, and so you don't have to pay on site, which is the norm. And we send you the invoice. We can add anything you want to it, photos, work orders, certificates of destruction, whatever you need. And you can pay with check, ACH, or any major credit card. Next. Our trucks are also 18 cubic yards, which is actually 20% larger than the standard trucks in the industry. So that kind of means you get more bang for your buck. With 20% larger trucks, you're getting 20% more junk into our truck for free. Okay, especially when you see the additional discounts that you guys get on your pricing, which your special pricing is included on here a little bit later. And we also do free on-site estimates, and that really comes in handy when you're doing like a house clean out or quarter situations or anything like that. We can go out, give you the estimate, give you the written proposal, and it's up to you. There's no obligation. There's no anything. If it works for you, then you give us a call back and we schedule a time to go back out and pick it up. Next. Okay, I've included your price list on here. We've broken down the price list by regions, or actually by tiers instead of by regions, so we can put better pricing together for you. Our prices are split up by the sizes of the truck. And in the next couple of pages, you'll see, what cities are in which tier, so you could look up your own prices. Now you could just skip through those.
You'll send this to them.
Yes.
Guys, remember to put your phones on. Remember to put your phones on mute whenever possible. If you have any background, if to avoid any of that background noise, just mute your phones. Thanks.
Yeah, and I have the price list I'll send out to anybody who wants it. Okay, we are fully licensed and insured. We do provide the certificates of the insurance and the W-9 right away, and we can personalize the COIs anytime upon request. It just takes 24 hours to get it back from our insurance company. The best thing with us is that we're a nationwide brand, but we're locally owned. Very similar to you guys in that respect. So you're getting the nationwide branding, the nationwide guarantees, but you're still dealing with local owners that you can meet face to face, and they're right there in your communities.
Great.
Yeah, next. And we are the greenest junk removal service out there. That's how we started in 2005, was basically pushing the whole repurpose, reuse, recycle. And we've been keeping up with it ever since. We donate over 60%. Between donations and recycling, it's well over 60% of every load.
Okay. Now, Kenny, we had a request for me to go back to the pricing page, so I'm going to do that real quick.
Okay.
And then Ken, I got your message. We can also send you this PowerPoint. So if anybody that wants
also send you the pricing.
Just shoot me an email if you want the PowerPoint or their pricing. And all right.
Okay.
I think this is that next slide for you.
Yeah. And we have the abilities where we can put specific notes that will always auto-populate for your jobs. If there's anything you don't want us to discuss pricing on site, anything that over a specific dollar amount would need approval. If you need certificate of destruction for any location, signed work orders, before and after photos, side receipts, anything like that, we can add that to you. We also have a specific group of people that only deal with our national accounts, which includes all HomeVestors. Okay, they will know everything about your account. They have your pricing on hand.
I'm sorry about that. Go ahead, Kenny.
They have your pricing on hand, and you'll always speak to one of 7 reps. Okay, you also have an assigned account manager, which will be me. So you can always reach out to me directly in case of any issues or any questions that you might have.
Okay.
Okay, so we do kind of tailor the services to you that way. Next. Okay, and we are listed in Uggville, so our contact information is on there, and then it's also on here. The phone number and email on the screen will go directly to my national accounts team, which is, like I said, my 7 reps. That'll have all of your information on it, on their screens, so they can take care of you directly. My name, number, and email, I believe, is also on Uggville. So please feel free to reach out to me, and I can send you a copy of the PowerPoint. I can send you price list, or you can call me for any detailed information that you might request.
Okay. All right. Well, anybody have a question for Candy? Thank you, Candy.
All right, thanks.
Well, I've got a question. I got a question. So, how much lead time do they need to allow from the time they call you to when you guys can have somebody come out? Is it usually a few days, a week, next day? Tell me what usually is the process there.
Usually we try to get somebody out the same day, if not the next day. If I can't get them on the schedule today, then it would be the next day. We could, of course, schedule anybody for any date that you request. Like if you know you have a whole house clean out that you want done Saturday, feel free to call me. I could block off the schedule for Saturday and have a couple trucks out there. But gotcha. I don't need a lot of lead time. I could have somebody out there same day or next day.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you, Candy, very much. And so, guys, you'll be able to reach out to Candy. I'll make sure everybody has her contact information. So if you want to check out their junk hauling services, you're able to do that whatever you want. So thank you very much. So moving right along, next on the list is Gary Snipes with Dirk's Moving and Logistics, also Seth Waite, who represents the handled side of the business. And so Gary and Seth, go ahead and kick things off. I'm going to load up the PowerPoint while you get started.
Sounds good. Thank you, Jonathan. Thanks for everybody's time joining the call this morning. We really appreciate it. A little bit about us is that this program is powered by United and Mayflower Van Lines. It's a very simplified pricing for your customers. The idea is to have an offering for you to either pay a portion of the move out of the home, or maybe even all of the move charges, if that makes sense for you financially. And gives you the opportunity to set a closure date on getting the contents out of the house, and for your remodelers and your service people to get back into the house and do what you need to do for the repairs and the updates. So we've used this model quite some time now. It's a very simple model. Seth's going to talk a little bit about the handled pricing side of this thing. It's pretty slick, but the network is the United and the Mayflower agents across the country. We're all tied into this thing. Seth will walk you through a little bit about how simple it is to get a local move price. It's very, very simple, and it's a quote. It's not an estimate. So when you take the few minutes it takes to get the information, you have a quote ready, and you can pay for it right then and there if you want to put it on a credit card. So Seth, if you want to walk through that a little bit more, that's all yours.
Awesome. Thanks, Gary. Yeah, so Handled was built really to provide more technology to the customer experience throughout the moving process. And we are powered by the United and Mayflower supplier pool, so we have nationwide coverage, and we get the benefit of working with really great partners like Dirk's all over the country, which means that we have a really great set of quality standards and the ability to really make a different kind of move experience. Handled currently is the fastest growing moving and storage platform. So as we think about technology and how that customer experience looks, and the fact that people are continuing to look for more self-service opportunities to get access to the things that they need to do, Handled's been a big part of that process and partnering to make that happen. And our purpose really is to help the world feel at home, which is the same really as this group here. It's finding opportunities for people not just to find a home or to move things into it, but to really settle down and appreciate and enjoy the experience that they have. You can go to the next slide. And so Handled is working with suppliers all over the country. We're in 51 cities right now. We'll be in 80 cities by May 1st. That number is going up actually because with COVID and some of the things happening, we've actually got even more progress on market expansion, so we'll be in even more locations. But the 80 markets that we're going to be in over the next really 30 days that we're adding are going to give us the ability to cover most of the country when it comes to actual moves in that process. But Handled was launched last year, and the whole purpose is again to connect well-known, quality, trusted movers with customers in a simple experience that improves pricing and quoting experience for customers and reduces costs across the board as well. So you can go to the next slide. Our cost structure, so the way that we work, we're able to actually reduce the price of a move by about 20% on average in most markets. In some markets, it's even a deeper cost reduction than 20%. And we're able to do that because we use technology to make it fast and simple and to automate a lot of things across the experience as well. One of the ways that we do that, as Gary mentioned, is instant pricing. So the way this relates to HomeVestors and the experiences you have are the fact that we don't have to send somebody to the home to walk through the home and have the experience. Because we're tied to United and Mayflower, the largest interstate moving company in the US, we have millions and millions of points of data, moves, and experience, and a data science team. And so our team has really built a pricing model that allows us to be accurate at the same degree. We're actually slightly above from an accuracy standpoint, having someone come into the home, because we have millions and millions of data points that allow us to replicate that process. It means that you can get pricing by just giving us 5 fields of information. So we need to know the zip code that the person lives in, the zip code that they're moving to, the type of home that it is, so home, apartment, studio, or storage, the number of bedrooms, and the move out date. With those 5 pieces of information, we're going to give you a binding price, so that price won't change, and we're going to make it super easy, so you can do it all online and instantly. For HomeVestors in particular, what also happens is we have a special Webflow just for HomeVestors, and it makes it really fast and really easy. It's custom to you or to your customers, so if you want to go in and fill that out to make sure that you leverage that as a way to get more business, that's great. But if you also want to just send that to customers, they can do that, and they'll have a custom HomeVestors experience throughout the process. But it takes less than 2 minutes. It's really fast and easy. And then the rest of the experience is just as easy. So they're getting text message communication, emails. It's very focused around not just providing value from a cost standpoint, but also transparency and clarity on what's going to happen, how that experience is working, and ultimately, what's happening throughout the process. One of the other things that we've done to solve a lot of these problems too is that have existed historically in the moving industry and continue to make the experience better is we have a direct line on all of our availability. So you'll always know when you get a price that we have a truck, we have drivers, and we have crew available. We reserve them in the moment, instantaneously. So our capacity is tied to our pricing. And we have a large supplier pool so that we can always ensure that we can take care of your customers through the process. The entire experience is managed through our web and mobile application. And all of the people that work in our platform, they're individually rated by customers. So in addition to just working with the best of the best from agents and suppliers like Dirk's Moving and Storage, we're also getting the very best of the best on every driver and every crew member because customers and our technology system are rating each person to ensure that we're really providing the very top tier experience across the board. And so in every area, we're really thinking about this around how can we be a concierge throughout the relocation process. When it comes to moving and storage, how can we make this really easy and simple? And how do we make sure that technology, it's not replacing the human experience and those moments of, answering questions, but it is simplifying and scaling it in a way that have created a lot of benefits and allowed us to create a really compelling customer experience. So from a COVID perspective, just for perspective over the next, couple weeks or however this lasts, as we think about, partnership in those components, moving in most states, counties, and cities right now is a essential business. So work is happening in almost every state and location from a moving perspective. So we're available, we're working. We've actually seen a massive surge in moves right now. I think a lot of people are trying to get their move happening before things potentially get locked down a little bit more. But again, we've got lots of capacity and the ability to help. And we're really built around creating direct integrations. So our goal with HomeVestors is to make it so easy that you can go in your portal and price from there. And so that's really what we're focused on. And we're happy to answer any questions and get connected as well. So you can reach Seth@handle.com, and happy to answer any questions and help out right away.
Yeah, thank you, Seth. When I first started talking with Gary with Dirk's Moving and Storage, I did some research and I found out that, with our organization, helping the sellers move, either subsidizing it 100% or, paying a portion, or at least providing a solution with a discount is quite common. And it's very market specific. I know some markets, it's more of it's not common to pay for the move, but in others it is. So I was real surprised to find out that it's kind of very market specific. And, but regardless, I think one of the benefits that I thought that spoke out was the fact that you can control the move out date in a more, you have a little bit of control over that, because if you're able to pay for the move, you're able to determine when that move out date is, or at least you can have one that's set. And so I thought that was pretty good. Any questions for Seth or Gary? Anybody out there? All right. Well, if you've got some questions that come up later, you can find Dirk's in Uggville. Just go to the vendor section in Who's Who. There's a moving and storage category, and you'll find them in there. So you can reach out to them and you get your price, you get everything you need so you can find out what's going on there with them. So, all right. So I'm going to move right along. Thank you very much, Seth. And next up on the lineup is Ryan Garcilaso with the Rehab Depot. And Ryan has a very unique business model, and I think it's really appropriate for us, well, for our franchisees, because he fills a gap, he fills a void, a necessary void. We have, the rehab process is pretty complicated, and what Ryan does is will help our franchisees kind of accelerate the learning curve through training and development, and through his boot camps, where franchisees can spend 2 days, and he has other curriculum where they really can learn how to become a better rehabber and just avoid all those landmines and those problems and those really those costly mistakes out of the blocks that a lot of our franchisees make. So Ryan, are you still with us? Are you on the phone with us? Ryan, anybody there? All right, interesting. Let me do a little research here and see what's going on with Ryan.
You hear me now,
Hey,
John?
Ryan. Yep, we can hear you.
Good morning.
All right, well, Ryan, go ahead and introduce yourself. I'm going to get your PowerPoint queued up real quick.
Sure.
And thank you very much for joining us today.
No, thank you for having me. My name is Ryan Garcilazo. I own the Rehab Depot. We're licensed contractors. I've been in contracting since I was a teenager. I'll be 39 this year. About four to 6 years ago, we started transitioning into the Rehab Depot from construction. As contractors, we work with investors all across the country, and we realized there's a real big divide, and it really came down to education. Investors understanding construction being understanding the investment game. So we thought that we'd be better suited after we obviously found tremendous success as contractors. We figured, let's try to help the investor now in terms of helping them understand fundamentally how to set jobs up, how to manage those jobs, how to manage contractors, how to estimate, and really just leverage the playing field and just kind of take control from day one. And that's really what the Rehab Depot is all about, is supplying you with the contracting and rehabbing education from inside the flip versus what's everybody's being taught from outside the flip. So that's the unique perspective.
All right.
So moving forward, one of the biggest things, as you can see on this slide, is that these are some issues that you're going to encounter if you haven't encountered them already, right? Contractors taking advantage of investors, contractors marking up most of the line items, GC fees need to be controlled, schedules need to be detailed and specific, time management coincides with money, because again, this is a time is money game. Someone must project manage, and one of the things we've always said to investors, and we say these at all our boot camps, is at some level, you must participate in your rehab. And we're not suggesting getting dirty by any means. We're talking about from a leadership perspective. And that's when we say, well, you can't manage what you don't know, right? And this is where we come in and teach you about the process of contracting, how contractors operate insurances, contract documents, scheduling and Gantt charts, and so forth. Another aspect, obviously, is the contracts themselves need to be prepared with great detail, because that'll catch you in the end, come change order requests, come draw management, things of that nature. And then obviously the next point is basically that, draw management, money management. That's a huge key pitfall in the game of rehabbing. First and foremost, you're going to be negotiating at every turn, every single week on a rehab. And for those that experience rehabs, you understand what I'm saying. Contractors always want to be paid. I need to draw, I need to draw, I need to draw. We teach the investors how to understand what they're asking for, how to figure out and determine what percentage is complete, what they're owed, what they're not owed, and then negotiate that, because at the end of the day, the contractor always needs to be paid. And sometimes rightfully so, and then sometimes not. And then obviously at the very end, for those of you who have the dreams of scaling and putting together a larger enterprise, you need to understand who you're hiring, how to train those individuals, whether that be through EOS, map processing, and obviously understanding how divisions talk to each other. So overall, the why is very important. The why is because it's your money. And if you rely on contractors all the time, you're giving up control. And when you give up control, you find yourself in a financial nightmare. You go to the next slide, John. So who are we, right? So we're actually the highest awarded contractors in the rehab game. We've been awarded 5 years in a row from the Remodeling Magazine. We've been in the Inc. 5000 list. We've been part of the Big 50, which is part of the Big 50 contractors, which is like a fraternity. And we won that both with our contracting company, the Garcilazo Group, and our consulting company. So we've consulted over $250 million in assets on behalf of investors. We've actually consulted on millions more. What I mean by that is we actually work with large investment companies across the country that are doing larger volumes. Some of these companies are doing 200 turnkey operations a year. Some are doing 150 flips a year. And at the end of the day, they have staff and they have divisions in accounting and bookkeeping. So we also help them understand where they're bleeding. And that's basically what's happening. A lot of investors we found over the years are very good at the acquisition. They may be very good at taking down the deal. They may be very good at analyzing things and possibly having the funding and the working capital to get these deals done. But again, when you go back into the construction aspect, that's lacking. And that's kind of what we do. Naturally, like I said, we work with the top investors in the country, and we built the first rehab project management CRM. So we have a project management CRM that's being finalized and beta tested as we speak, and we'll be launching literally in about 33 days. April 23rd, we will launch that app. And that's going to be for investors of all sizes to be able to manage from the office to the field. And I've been on a lot of calls over the last week with investors across the country about what's going on in different markets. And here's one of the pieces of advice I'll give you now, is that your first lesson right here is that everything's going to be virtual. So virtual technology is going to be it's going to have to help you in some way, shape, or form. Because if people are being quarantined, individuals are getting sick, you're going to have to use video communication. You're going to have to use some type of CRM. There's going to have to be some type of computer-based model or app that's allowing you to communicate with the outside world. And that's going to be extremely important now more than ever. And then, of course, once this is over, it's going to help you benefit with your business as you're able to continue growing. You go to the next slide, John. So what do we do the best? It's our rehab training camps. So what we cover in that is literally project management. We break down the 3 phases of construction in project management, which is the production setup, which is everything you do before demo day 1. Then you have project phase 2, which is actually in construction. And then you have phase 3, which is post-construction. And we break down the best practices for a project manager to operate with, things with like a rolling punch list and making sure you have job site binders on the construction projects, things of that nature. We break down construction management and what that looks like to have foremans or site guys, or taking your GC for that matter, and making him more accountable for what's happening on the field and then directly reporting to you or your project manager. We discuss time management and do exercises in terms of understanding where are you spending your time, which quadrant. There's 4 quadrants. Are you wasting time? Are you fielding all these emails? Are you doing calls? What are you wasting your time on that's not focused on what's important versus urgent, right? And then we talk about draw and money management. We break down scheduling and risk assessment, because risk assessment's a very, very large deal. When you're looking at a project, and for some of you who have maybe a handful at a time, geography is a major risk to look at. How far apart those projects are, how far your contractors live from those projects, the time of year, the season, the weather, the location in the country. Things of those natures need to be analyzed, and very few investors do that because it does impact your rehab down the line. We talk about contracting 101. So you know what you're looking at in general. You have an idea of what to talk about, questions to ask. We talk about negotiation tactics, because the contractor naturally should know more than you. That's what they do. But we also give you the backbone so that you have the idea of how to ask a question, how to engage the contractor, how to hire a contractor so you don't look foolish, and it doesn't give you that much anxiety. And then overall, we talk about what the possible business model could look for those that want to scale. If you were to go and say, I want to do 50 flips a year, what does that look like? If I want to do 10 a month, what does that look like? And we talk about that as well. So the camps are very, very detail specific. We have a lot of exercises that we engage every single investor. We usually keep our camps pretty small, 50 at max, because I like to engage everybody. I want to get to know everybody on a first name basis. And we do a lot of networking within the camps over 2 days. So that kind of gives you a ballpark as to what it is. Our camps are open to the public, and now we're going to be doing camps for HVA as well.
Okay.
So we can go to the next slide.
All right.
So when, where, and how, right? So the next camp we're going to do is going to be virtually. We were going to do one for HVA and for the public in April. I think it was going to be like April 23rd and 24th, but naturally we're going to do that down in Disney Springs. Naturally, that didn't work out with what's going on. No problem. We're a company that does plenty and many webinars. That's another thing that we do that's an asset. We use virtual technology, so we're very savvy with it. So we decided that we're going to collaborate, and we're going to reduce the time, and we're going to reduce the cost. So it's going to be Monday, April 27th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's going to be $4.99. You're going to get access to the recording thereafter, so you and your teams or you and your partners can then review on your time and go back and reference. We're going to do it all online via Zoom. And here's the link right here for you guys. And obviously, I'm sure John will share that with you at some other point. But the reality is we're making it as easy as possible for you guys to continue to evolve. Right now, with all the panels that I've been on in the recent days with some high-level guys, they're not slowing down. And I would encourage you not to slow down if you're the investors listening. The idea is don't try and learn something new, but try to fine-tune what you're weak at. And everybody's a little weak at rehabbing if that's not a thing that you've done. So that's what we're here to do, is continue to provide value during the downtime to make it as easy as possible, make it as affordable as possible, so that you can just log in, put on your socks, and enjoy the ride.
Okay. Great. Thanks, Ryan.
You got it.
I believe I've got a question. I believe Alan Washer's on the line. Many of you guys know Alan out of Chicago. Alan, you've done a few flips in your lifetime, haven't you?
I have. I mean, I sat through Ryan's boot camp. I don't know. I think it was about a month or so ago. And I mean, I've done a lot of rehabs. And I was in the construction business even prior to I bought my franchise. It's been almost 20 years now since I've had my franchise. And I enjoyed it. It was 2 days. I would recommend it for sure. Anybody that is brand new to this business. The one thing that I think HomeVestors has kind of lacked over the years everything's always been up to the HomeVestor support, the development agents, to instruct or teach the new franchises something about construction or managing the construction job. And a lot of our franchises don't come from that background. They come from computers or tech or stocks or traders or doctors or lawyers or anything like that. And even for somebody like me who's done hundreds and hundreds of rehabs, I learned a lot. I mean, it was a really, really great 2-day boot camp. We had several franchises from Chicago. We had a couple from Memphis and a couple from Detroit, along with other investors throughout the United States, that because it was one of the public boot camps that Ryan had. I mean, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about contracts. I learned a lot about pricing, how to deal with general contractors, subcontractors, little stuff like posting the scope of work on a wall, which I started to do the week after that, just to make sure that everybody was on the same page. It was cool. It was awesome. It was an awesome boot camp. I definitely would recommend it for anybody.
Great. Well, thanks, Alan. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, guys, also, Ryan is also in Uggville. Look up the Rehab Depot, and you'll find his information. With COVID-19, we're still kind of trying to figure out where that's going to head and what's going to happen. So, the posting of some boot camps, I think we have some on the schedule for later in the year. But anything in the near future, you're going to need to kind of wait and just kind of, we need to see how things kind of settle down with everything before we know about any upcoming boot camps. But until then, he's got the half-day deal going here that seems really attractive, and looks like it's going to be a pretty packed 6 hours of education, huh, Ryan?
Without a doubt. I'm going to have a water bottle ready to go so I don't get cat in mouth.
All right.
It'll be good.
Well,
It'll be good.
Well, thank you. Any questions for Ryan? All right. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, John.
I believe I skipped over one of our vendors. I was actually intending for for Express Capital to be on the lineup sooner. Sorry, Martin and David. Didn't mean to pass you guys up. Let me get your slide queued up. Martin and David, are you guys on the phone?
Yes, we are. How are you guys?
Okay, doing well. Thank you for joining us. Let me go ahead and get you queued up. And everybody, one of our missions here with our vendor program, and you guys know Rodney Young, he runs our lending here at HomeVestors, is really trying to make sure that finding funding for your deals is never really an issue. So we've assembled a pretty strong lineup of lenders, and we've created some more efficient ways to connect with our lenders through Uggville, and we've got a strong lineup. But you know what? I'm always looking for better providers and for really the best fit type of vendors that we can find. And I met Martin Shera with Express Capital Financing, and really liked their programs, and I think you guys will too. So I'm going to turn this over to Martin and David, or whoever is going to be presenting, and let you guys take it from here.
Great. So my name is Martin Shera. We're a family-based office out of here in Brooklyn, New York. And I want to thank you, Jonathan, for this time, by the way. We appreciate the opportunity. Hope everybody's staying safe out there. So obviously there's a lot of lenders out there. What makes us unique is that we are, we're nationwide. We are still lending. Our platform is still stronger than ever. We have gotten so many phone calls. Are we still lending? What's happening? We're lending. We're still keeping the 90% of the purchase, 100% of the rehab, 70% of the ARV. Some lenders we're hearing out there raise their scores, lower the leverages. We are not doing anything like that. The only difference that we're doing currently is just requiring an interest reserve, which is about 3 months of payments up front just to secure the loan and make things moving forward. So we've been around for about 8 years. I am an investor myself, and we got into the lending business about 8 years ago, and my 2 sons are on board with me. So, John, if you can go to the next screen, which is about calculating a decision. We look at the deals very carefully. Our default rates are, 1 to 2%, which is obviously very minimum in this industry. We look at the deals very carefully. We want to make sure that there's a profit. We're not institutionalized. We don't have any guidelines. It's just about if the deal just makes sense and if it's going to be profitable. That's our motto. We look, like I said, we look at the deals. If any of our borrowers are looking for, proof of funds, deciding whether they're going to be 80% or 90% or whatever the terms may be as far as the leverage, we're here to provide that. We get on the phone call. We want to pre-qualify the borrower or even qualify the borrower so we could provide proof of funds for them totally free to go out there and give to their realtors, bankers, the FSBOs, wherever they're going to. Because if they're giving out 20 offers, I'm sure everybody knows 2 or 3 will come back, and that's the name of the game. So we could provide them generic, approval amounts of $500,000, $1 million, or property specific to the leverage of that particular property. We're very unique unique and different from other lenders. We could mix in partners scores, partners experience. So we can mix score, we can mix experience, we can mix liquidity, any of the 2, any of the 3 to provide the borrowers with that leverage. We look at the quality of the deal. We like to show them with our consultative approach where the market is going, what their potential profits are, and so they can make an informed decision with our consultative approach and market analysis. So we're not just deploying capital and saying here, here, here. We're telling them what the profits will be. It's better to keep it. It's better to sell it. And again, it's just a consultative approach. They don't have to utilize it or not. Jonathan, the next screen. So that's the certainty of execution where, we're going to commit to our offer. We're not going to change our offer on the leverage or the rate of the terms. The only way that we would do that is only if the appraisal came in lower or if a score was misinformed by us. And when it comes to credit score, we are not credit driven. We work with borrowers even in the 500 scores. So that makes us, again, a little more unique, where lenders are even tightening with their scores by increasing it. We're still working with the, and borrowers, whether they're new or whether they're experienced, we're working in the 500 scores. But again, in order to provide them with those high leverage, we'll take a person with a higher score, more experience, or any of the, of the aspects involved. So like I was saying, the certainty of execution, which is important because at least over here on the East Coast, we're hearing from our borrowers that, oh, my lender just changed the leverage. Oh, he just changed the rate on me a day before or the day of, and they're getting upset. So we commit to our offer because we don't want our borrowers going elsewhere and not being committed to us to moving forward. Okay, the next. Timing. We could provide a term sheet in a matter of 15 minutes. We could provide proof of funds also in the same amount of time, 15 minutes. We have about 20 people on staff of loan officers to understand the borrower's needs and goals and strategies. Like I said, deploying capital is easy, maybe not so easy in today's world, but we're here to understand their needs, their goals, and strategies. Sometimes we understand that there is no profit on the deal, and then we hear that they're going to keep the property. Well, of course, that makes sense to us, which is very important for the borrower. So again, timing, we can provide it the same day. Closing time on the first deal typically takes about 10 days. After that, second deal and on with the borrower, 3 to 5 days. We could also assist our borrowers if they need the help with title companies, insurance companies, ensuring that they get better premiums on their policies, whether it's an insurance or for their title policy. So we have quite a few on our roster that we could recommend. Of course, they could choose whoever they want to work with. but timing is of essence for the borrower because it's the quickly they get in and the quickly they get out, then obviously so we could help them with their, offering some vendors here to help out with the deal. So like I said, we always evaluate the deal. We want to make sure that they're going to be profitable and successful. That's our motto. So we can get timing closed within a week, like I said. The next screen. Leverage. So obviously in today's world, everything is about leverage. And when investors tell me that they're going to use, they use their own money and they're going to put 100% into a deal, well, they're maximizing 100% of their risks. They are minimizing their leverage, and they're not getting the max return on the investment and the max, cash on cash. So leveraging on any deal is always going to get them the highest returns, the highest cash on cash, and the higher the leverage, the lower the risk it is for the borrower, and that's what we provide over here. So our highest, again, just to reiterate, is 90% of the purchase, 100% of the rehab, and we could even joint venture with, our future partners and investors on this team over here, where they're coming up with nothing, and Express Capital will come up with a 90%, and myself will come up with that 10% or 15% of the equity deposit plus any closing cost and carrying cost. So it's helping if the investor has a good deal, they're cash tight, it's profitable, we could talk about, doing 100% financing for, 3+ deals borrowers. The next tab, please. So yeah, this is talking about the same thing about the 100% financing. And just to open up one more door, avenue on this, if we don't feel comfortable doing it ourselves, the 100% financing, we do have gap funders that as long as we bless the deal, they will come up with that 10, 15, 20% difference. What they do is they want obviously a percentage of the profits. I believe it's about 50% of it, but I always tell my investors, if you don't got the cash, 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing. So if we can introduce them to a JV partner who, and the investor or the franchisee doesn't have the money, so they could do that as well too. The next.
Interesting.
Yes. So unlimited financing. So we call this a line of credit. And this line of credit means we are giving every client of ours, every investor, a line of credit. No more paperwork, no more credit pulls. And talking about credit pulls, we understand that every time a credit is pulled, that it affects their DTI, debt to income, debt to utilization. So we only pull credit once. But going back to our line of credit, they don't have to give us any more credit for the year, credit authorizations, credit reports. We give them an unlimited amount of deals and unlimited amount of transactions. As long as they have the equity of 10, 20%, we are not here at Express Capital going to say no to them unless the deal just doesn't make any profit, of course, and we'll bring that out to them. Other than that, some lenders, they cap it out at 5 deals. Or when it gets close to the year end, they say, you know what, we want to be careful and, no more deals coming up for the next few months until the next year is coming. We don't say that. We understand borrowers, they want to get in quickly, out quickly, make their profit. So we have unlimited amount of deals, which is a lot of credit for the borrower. We also have a zero, talking about this topic over here. So we also have a 0-point program available that we created a few months ago. So typically we're going to be in that 2% origination fee. But again, when decent borrowers just they're tight for cash, or they don't feel like paying the 2 points right now, or that 2.5 points right now, we'll throw in the points at the time of sale, which could be 6 months to 12 months. So it's a 1% premium. So if the deal's a 2% deal, we'll make it 3%, but Express Capital is going to wait that 6 to 12 months until they're ready to move, until they're ready to sell the deal. It's for borrowers, again, who just, cash tight, they want to make their profits and they want to sell the deal and, flip the deal and things like that. So we have that 0% point program too. The next slide, please. So, like I said before, reviewing the deal, my 2 boys and my son, I think they're on the phone right now, Max and David. They are 2 of many of our underwriters in our office. They look over the deals carefully. They make sure that it's going to be profitable, successful. Our default rate is low because we're carefully, we're underwriting it very, very carefully. So with that said, we're here to employ the capital. We got products and programs. We're not just a hard money lender. We are the Costco of real estate financing, whether it's short-term hard money financing or long-term financing, which is very popular today in the 2020, which is the SFRs, 1 to 4 units. Rates right now are in the 4-5%, 75, 80%, whether it's a purchase or a refinance. The good thing about it, it's a stated income, no doc, no tax returns, no W-2s, no income verification. And yes, the properties could be empty. So when you're coming out of hard money and you want to go to permanent financing, investors today, they want to build that investment portfolio, have that equity build every year, have a tax incentive savings, tax incentive write-offs, I should say, and also having their tenants pay down their debt. So we are a rental 360 long-term mortgage lender as well. The next screen, please, John. Go one below that. So like I was saying, we're direct, we're nationwide, we're private, we're not institutionalized, we don't have any guidelines. Some of our investors, they ask us for certain things to do if it makes sense, whether it's increasing their leverage, increasing their loan to cost. When it comes to the draws, everybody asks, can they have the money up front? Unfortunately, we can't do that. But we do in the draws is we have unlimited draws. And I know one of the speakers over here were saying that, the drawers is very expensive. We understand that as well too, because the contractors are the most important aspect of the deal. It's not the money, it ain't the title, it ain't the insurance. Making your contractor happy by paying him on time is going to get him out maybe even quicker, where your cost of capital is cheaper. So with that said, we created unlimited draws. So if the draws happen to be 50, 75, 100, you don't have to shell out and this large deposit to give him when we make it unlimited draws. No photos, no invoices, simple spreadsheet filling in, simple draw within 48 hours wired into your account. John, please, the next screen.
Okay.
One bar below that, I believe. Great. So what we do here, like I said, is hard money. We're not just a fix and a flip lender. If any of the investors in the HomeVestors franchisees are doing multifamilies, mixed use, we do that as well too. And like I said, commercial mortgages, stated income, no doc. And we are a true bridge loan lender for, 2 million up to 40 million on the large commercial type of properties. Like I said, we're not credit sensitive. No financials are required. So obviously everybody could see our figures. We're growing very, very rapidly. And this is just on the East Coast, these numbers. And this is not even including our mortgage department. Our loan officers are ready to answer any of the investors' questions. And we like to understand, like I said, always their needs, their goals, and their strategies, so we could get them to where they want to be at. We're not just here to, just say here, here, here. We want to get to know where they be at, how many deals they want to do, how are they going to get there, how much money do they need. We're going to offer them thoughts and a process, maybe using their credit card money or going into their HELOC so they can cash in from their home equity line of credit so they could put the money down on a fix and a flip or a buy and hold. So we're giving them, choices and thought process on how to grow and scale their business in real estate. So this is all about pre-approval. Just takes about 50 minutes. Term sheets with another 15 minutes, and we can close their deals in a matter of days. Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I do.
Sure.
Are you guys in Illinois?
Do we what? I'm sorry?
Are you in Illinois?
Yes, we lend in Illinois.
You do?
Yes.
Oh, how come I didn't know that? All right. Can you?
Not sure.
These guys are they're a new vendor for us, Alan. They haven't been introduced yet. They're going to be announced here probably next month. So this is kind of their pre-outing right now.
Oh, I really like you guys. Can I give you my email address, and can you just send me some contact information, please?
Yes. Give me 1 second.
Jonathan, can you just send him my email?
Yeah, I'll get it. Yeah, I'll get it to you, David.
Awesome.
Don't worry
Awesome.
about it, Martin.
Awesome.
Well, thank you very much, Martin. So full service, short-term loans,
Short-term,
long-term,
long-term.
bridge,
Yep.
mortgages.
Yep.
And
And
you
even
do
on
some
I'm sorry, I didn't mention one more thing I forgot to mention. We even have a MLS website called findthatflipdeal.com. It was created for the purposes of wholesalers about 3 years ago, and now landlords, developers, contractors, they're putting property managers, they're putting up their properties there. It's free. They could post it, put their properties there, buy properties from there. We have 35,000 investors in our database. So it's just an extra added value for investors to buy or sell their properties.
Great. All right. Thank you very much.
You
And
got it.
once again, guys, you're going to be able to find Express Capital in Uggville. And then those that are on the call, I'll make sure everybody gets an email with their the contact information for all the vendors that are on today. So I know we're a little behind the time clock, so we're going to move right along. Thanks again, Martin.
You got it.
Now I want to move on to Roofstock, Mark Woodling. You know, Roofstock has been a vendor of ours for the last couple of years. They've been a really strong vendor for us. They occupy a great space with helping our franchisees with alternative exit strategies and property disposition. So I'm not going to try to explain everything that Mark does. I'm going to let Mark do that. And so welcome, Mark. Thank you for being here.
Appreciate it, John. And I'll jump right in if you want to jump to the next slide.
Yep. When you get to, let me pull this up real fast.
Okay. And I'll just make a few opening comments then. So Roofstock's a marketplace for single family rental properties to be bought and sold. So we're working with a number of vendors and franchisees around the country with HomeVestors and really helping them identify a new exit strategy that they may have not considered previously. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about, what you can be looking for in your exit strategies, even before you start laying a hammer into the property and start thinking about potentially selling rental properties with income coming in, knowing that that's what investors are looking for, even during these difficult market times like what we're in right now. So you can jump to the next slide. That's just a little bit about me. I have about 20 years in the industry, so we can jump through that since we're a little late on time. So the marketplace idea is really that we're a brokerage. So we're representing sellers and helping connect with buyers around the country and even internationally that are looking for income producing properties. So we are representing the seller in the listing transaction and then connecting them with buyers that have time or don't have time, but they have the money, right? So they're East Coast, West Coast investors that are really looking for a quality opportunity, but they don't know where to go and trust because they go through MLS, they look for properties, and it's just really difficult for them to do the due diligence. So we help them by vetting these deals and really simplify the process while sellers can sell properties with tenants in place and not do showings because we end up paying for a third-party inspection. So you can have a number of different people doing due diligence on a property without ever stepping foot into the home. So that makes sense, especially today as we have a little more difficulty with tenants pushing back and not wanting people to come into the home. So really everything's being done online. So buyers that we have in our network pretty much become your buyers that we can market to. So if you have properties that you're interested in selling, we're going to be a place that you can post those properties at no cost to you, and you can really feel comfortable with a transaction while you have the income continuing to come in during that sale process. So we can jump to the next slide. Okay, you can click through that. There you go, sorry. Click twice. There you go. So this is just a little bit about who's on our marketplace. We have individual sellers selling one property at a time that we call mom and pops. We have institutions that are selling both portfolios of rental properties as well as selling one property at a time. And then really the fix and flippers is where I'm finding most interest with a group like HomeVestors, because you have a process that you know how to identify the property, do a quality renovation, or just get it rent ready and put a tenant in place. And then what we're able to do is merchandise the property through our marketplace as an individual home or maybe even a portfolio. And then we take care of the sale process and manage the buyers and all that, the out-of-state investors that have a lot of questions about portfolios or individual properties that aren't in their local market. So they're looking in areas like the Midwest and the Southeast, which you can flip to the next slide. And this is really a good presentation of where the interest is coming from. The blue on the right is where most of the money is coming to, and you can see in orange where most of the markets are that they're interested in. So we find that most buyers are buying from over 1,000 miles away, and they're looking for that simplicity. So go to Roofstock, check out our website. It's a very transparent marketplace where you can understand what buyers get to see. And then we would love to work with you to merchandise and sell your properties on our website and really handle the transaction for you. So you don't need to sell to owner occupants. You can really start thinking about selling to investors where there's money continuously coming into this market. So you can jump to the next slide. So this is really how I break it down, is that the rental exit strategy is going to be very consistent, and this is how you can still achieve retail prices in certain markets like the Southeast and the Midwest and a few other markets. But you can renovate properties to more rent-ready condition. You don't need to put quartz countertops in when you're selling to renters. So rather than considering wholesaling, you may want to think about taking on the equity opportunity and trying to build the equity by renovating the property yourself and knowing that you have a very consistent exit strategy. So these properties are like mini businesses where the income supporting the value of the properties, and it's not just the sale comps. So with this, the investor demand is looking at those cap rates, and even during market fluctuations, investors are moving to real estate because it's brick and mortar. It's not the stock market where you have to hold on to the guard or the rails because it's a wild roller coaster ride. Mm-hmm. So at the bottom, it's really about data. Let the income drive the value of the property, and let us help you by estimating our sale price with our data. We have tons of rental data. We have a lot of sales, and you can see on the left, this is really where the majority of our properties are. But I'd be happy to walk you through exactly where most properties are that we're selling, and then even give you some sale data. So flip to the next slide, and John can send this out, but this is our typical buy box. It's pretty loose in terms of what bed bath count are. We'll sell 2+ bedrooms. We'll sell any year built. In Chicago, we'll sell properties built in 1895 as long as they're rehabbed and are in decent condition. It's all about low deferred maintenance and then a decent cap rate based on the risk of A class, B class, C class, D class area.
What does low deferred maintenance typically mean? What kind of?
Under $3,000 really is what we're looking for. The lower the deferred maintenance, the quicker it will sell, because most of these out-of-state investors don't want to come out of pocket for immediate rehab. They want to put the 25% down, use a Fannie Freddie loan, and get into these still staying cash rich so they can build their reserves up.
Gotcha.
You can flip to the next slide and I'll start to wrap up. But one thing I really would love for you guys to know about is that I have a new turnkey program that came out for the people that really know how to fix, flip, and repeat. And you have all the details you'll need through somebody like myself, where I can give you our playbook on how to reverse engineer and really find the properties in the right areas and know with the highest level of confidence that you'll be able to exit those properties. So our commission's 3%. Buyers come to us directly because they trust our site. So there's no buyer's agents. We don't do showings, no open houses, no other agents involved. So it's just a very straightforward process. And we've sold over $2 billion of real estate this way. So rather than going to the MLS and having to do those showings and potentially have issues with tenants right now, you can think about working through Roofstock, where we don't do any of those showings and still get all the marketing to the right audience out there.
Mm-hmm. Great.
And next slide, and I'll try to see if that's it. So email me. We'll give you a free valuation report. We'll give it back to you and just make sure that we're in alignment on value before we would ever consider listing. Our listing periods are typically around 45 days, and we're getting most properties sold at 99% of retail price in about 15 days. So yeah, get in touch with me. I can provide you with our playbook, and would love to talk more whenever you guys have a chance.
All right. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate the concise presentation there. Any questions for Mark?
No, I'll say that though, Mark, they came out to Chicago, I don't know, maybe about 6 weeks ago. And I know we've got a couple franchises that are working with them right now, and it seems to be going fairly smooth. We'll see what happens when they close, but so far so good.
Great. Well, I know there's a lot going on.
Thanks, Alan.
No problem.
I know there's a lot going on in the marketplace. It's good to have another vendor out there that's providing options for our folks. So thanks, Mark, for being with us today. So all right, I'm going to move right along to our last presenter, and Rodney, I hope you're doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing okay. I'm going to introduce Rodney Mullen with RicherValues. Rodney is a new vendor of ours, and he'll be joining us at the Mid-Year Summit coming up here in a few months, and has a really interesting platform that I think you're going to be interested in. It is, you've heard a lot about, how important it is to have the right data at the right time to help you make the right decision at the right time. And so what Rodney does is he gives you that data. He's figured out a way to use technology to give you some intelligence with that data to help you all make better decisions about your exit strategy and really make sure you're going to stay in the money and make the most amount of money on your deals. So not similar in a way to Red Bell and some of your other property data providers, but so much more. So I'm going to go ahead and, Rodney, let you get started while I pull up your presentation.
That sounds great. So for those who are still with us, I'll try to make it quick and make it brief. Jonathan, if we can go to the beginning, yeah. But here's the basic thing, right? That title is maximizing your ROI on every asset. So my quick background, during the last downturn from 2008 to 2013, I helped build a buy-side shop, and we purchased over the 5-year period that I was there, and I basically ran operations for the enterprise. We purchased over $1 billion worth of real estate and mortgages nationwide. And so with several thousand fix and flips during that period of time, one of the things that we were really good at that made us very successful is identifying where to spend our money, right? As we're taking on pools of assets, and we were also buying, one-offs and so on and so forth, to understand and figure out which assets should we, just turn around and list as is, which ones should we do kind of carpet and paint, lipstick, versus which ones should we put in, heavier rehab. And so we were really good at figuring that out, which is really everything. It's just at the time, it would still take us a week, 2 weeks to really dial that in. And so in the past few years, I've been working on building this platform, RicherValues, that basically helps us figure that out in a few minutes. So we can go to the next slide, Jonathan. But basically, it's a software platform that utilizes AI to look at and evaluate residential property anywhere in the country. So it gives us speed, accuracy, and a whole comprehensive view of the property. It helps us figure out what are the different levels of ARV, right? The industry, because it's a bit antiquated, is still used to thinking about property as one number, Like you get a BPO or you get appraisal. Here you go, it's worth 180. Or here, your ARV is worth 210 or whatever that is, and it's one number. But the truth of the matter, as we all on the ground know, is that a property's value depends on what we do to it. And so some of what Mark was just talking about in terms of, properties with certain exit strategies, we don't need to do this much, rehab on that asset. Absolutely true. So this helps us quantify that so you guys can maximize your profit on every deal. So we can go to the next slide. Actually, we can probably skip that one really. So here, what we do. So these are just a couple of quick, screen excerpts of the information that the system produces. So you run a property, it takes about 30 seconds to run on average, and it comes back and it gives us a graphed picture of value for the subject property for as is and at different levels of renovation. And then it provides us with information with cost estimates and helps us identify what's the most profitable rehab strategy. And so for some assets, it's going to come out and it's going to tell you as is, right? We shouldn't do anything to this thing. Maybe we're buying it for, 80 grand, but it's, we're getting a little under market. It's worth 112, but we shouldn't put any money into it because any money we put in, we're not going to get as much out. Versus in this example on the screen, it tells us, hey, we should do a partial remodel, meaning we should not do a whole cosmetic update to everything, because in this example, it would say it would cost us 60 grand, and our net lift, meaning our increase in value from the as is 270 to the 338 full ARV, there's only an 8 grand spread, right? Versus the partial remodel, it's telling us, hey, the highest gross profit is the 25 grand. Now, interestingly enough, in this example, it says you could basically almost make the same amount by putting a minimum remodel. And so this starts to help us dial in what's the best strategy. And so we can go to the next slide. This is, really the, case in point is these decisions translate to real dollars. At the end of the day, and I would always get frustrated with this, right? If we, as an investor, would walk away from a deal breaking even or making a couple grand or losing a couple grand, at the end of the day, the realtor still gets paid, contractor still gets paid, the lender still gets paid. And as long as we do another deal, they're fine. They're happy. They made what they wanted to make. We're the ones who care. And so this software is really geared toward that. It's how do we take the information, the comps, the information, but actually look at this like an investor and help us figure out how to make the most money out of this asset. We all know, and there may become an incredible buying opportunity coming up. We all know that getting the deal is one of the hardest parts. And when we get that deal, we want to make sure that we're going to make the most amount of money on that deal possible. And so this software helps us do that. So we can go to the next slide. So cost. What we did is we're putting together a plan, or we put together a plan. Our other plans are higher price point per unit, etc. But so an inexpensive approach for HomeVestors franchisees, 10 credits, meaning 10 properties per month at $100. And so if you think about, tying up deals, whether you're getting 2 a month, you're getting 8 a month, whatever that is, I can guarantee you that this is going to help you see things that we didn't see because we wouldn't have checked every rehab strategy on every asset. It's too hard to do that with like our human minds, right? But the technology helps us. You get one deal that it's going to open your eyes, and you're going to make an extra 12 grand on that one and 26 grand on this one, and boom, we would have walked away from that deal and we make 18 grand, and the increase in profits that you're going to be able to take home dwarfs this cost really quickly. It'll pay for the thing for a year in a blink. And so I think the last slide is, I think, just my contact info. Yeah. So super easy. You can email me, or you can jump on our website, RicherValues.com, click schedule demo. We can run you through a quick demo, run a live property that you're looking at. You'll see the accuracy. You'll see the interface. I think you'll really like it. I've already, in the past couple of days, just from joining HomeVestors, already had a few demos, and another couple coming up today. Pretty straightforward. It's really going to help you guys improve your profits a great deal, and we're excited to start to be a part of HomeVestors. Most of our clients to date have really been lenders, and then also some other scaled investment shops, etc. Everybody's been really thrilled with the speed, with the accuracy, with the ability to help them make decisions, and I think it's really going to be valuable to you guys.
Awesome. Excellent. Wow. Powerful stuff, man. It's just kind of tells you the more you know, the smarter you are, the more money you can make if you use that and apply that information. Any questions for Rodney? Anyone? Well, I know we've run over time, and Rodney, thank you very much for taking your time to show us what you have going on there. We're really glad to have you on board as a new vendor, and to look forward to working with you. So if there's no questions or comments at all, I'm going to go ahead and wrap us up. We are over time. I apologize for that. I'll try to do a better job next time. These vendor showcases, I'm going to try to have more of these throughout the year. So I hope you like this kind of style. I promise next time I'll try to keep things flowing a little bit more efficiently. And but I thank everybody for joining us. I am recording this. I believe that it's good to keep this presentation. The shelf life will last a lot longer with this recording. So it will be available in Uggville, and just search for all the different vendors, and this recording should pop up. So thank everybody for joining us. Really appreciate everybody's time, and stay safe out there. Guys, practice that social distancing. Just do everything you need to do. Quarantine yourself. Let's get through this, because I really feel like after the next few weeks, it's time to turn lemons into lemonade. It's going to be a really good time for a lot of us. So thank you all very much, and have a great weekend, and keep buying houses. Thank you.